My name is Robert. I'm 76 years old, and every evening before I make dinner,
I set the table for 3. I put out 3 plates, 3 forks, 3 napkins folded the way I always folded them. I don't have guests coming. No one's expected. It's just me in this house now. But I set the table for 3 anyway. I've been doing it for so long that I don't even think about it anymore. My hands just move. Plate here, fork there, glass on the right. And then I sit down at one of the 3 places, and I eat alone. People don't ask me about it. The few who've been here in the last few years just glance at the empty chairs and look away. I think they assume it's grief. And maybe it is, but not the kind they think. I was married for 42 years. Her name was Helen. We had one son, Michael. For most of those years, it was the 3 of us around that table. Breakfast before school, dinner at 6:30, Sunday pancakes that I always burned on one side. It was loud sometimes, especially when Michael was young. He'd talk about everything. His friends, his teachers, some book he was reading, some idea he'd had. Helen would laugh. He'd get excited. I'd tell them both to settle down. It felt full. Not perfect, but full. And I thought that was enough. I thought if I provided for them, kept the bills paid, kept a roof over our heads, that was love. That was what a father did, what a husband did. I didn't know I was already losing them. Michael left for college when he was 18. That part was normal, expected. But he didn't come back the way I thought he would. Oh, he visited, Thanksgiving, Christmas, a weekend here and there. But when he sat at that table, he was polite, careful. He'd ask me how I was. I'd say fine. He'd tell me a little about school, and then the conversation would just stop. Helen would fill the silence. She'd ask him questions, make jokes, try to pull him back in. But I didn't know how. I thought he was just growing up, becoming independent. I didn't realize he'd been trying to talk to me for years. There was this one night. He was 16. He came into the garage while I was working on the car. He stood there for a minute, just watching me. I remember he said, "Dad, can I ask you something?" And I said, "Sure, son." But I didn't stop what I was doing. I just kept working under the hood, waiting for him to say whatever it was. And he stood there quiet. And then he said, "Never mind." And he left. I didn't think anything of it. I thought if it was important, he'd bring it up again. He never did. I found out later, years later, that he'd been struggling that whole year with school, with himself, with things I didn't even know were happening. He told Helen, not me. And when I asked her why she didn't tell me, she just looked at me with this sad, tired expression and said, "Robert, he tried." I didn't believe her at first. But then I started remembering all those times he started a sentence and didn't finish it. All those times he stood near me, waiting. All those times I was too busy, too distracted, too focused on what I thought mattered. I thought keeping everything running smoothly was the same as being close. It wasn't. Helen got sick when she was 67. It came on slowly at first. Just tired, a little forgetful, and then it got worse. By the time she was 70, she couldn't remember Michael's name. Some days, couldn't remember mine. I took care of her every day, every night. I cooked her meals, helped her dress, sat with her when she got confused and scared. And I thought, this is it. This is my chance to show her, to make up for all the years I didn't say the things I should have said. But she didn't know who I was anymore, so it didn't matter. She died 3 years ago, and I realized I'd spent 42 years next to her, and I'd never really let her see me. I'd never told her I was scared or lonely, or that sometimes I didn't know what I was doing. I thought being strong meant not needing anything. I thought being a good husband meant not being a burden. So I kept it all inside. And she died thinking I was fine. Michael came to the funeral. He stayed for a week, and one night, after everyone else had left, he sat with me at the kitchen table, just the two of us. He said, "Dad, I know you're grieving, but I need to say something." And I felt my whole body tense up, because I knew what was coming. He said, "I spent my whole childhood trying to get close to you, and I couldn't." He wasn't angry. He wasn't crying. He just said it, like a fact, and I wanted to defend myself, to explain, to tell him I'd done my best. But I didn't, because he was right. He said, "I used to watch you and Mom, and she'd talk to you, and you'd nod, but you never really let her in. You never let me in. I thought maybe I wasn't enough, or maybe I'd done something wrong, but I don't think it was me. I think you just didn't know how." And then he looked at me and said, "I don't want that to be us anymore." So I just nodded, and he reached across the table and put his hand on mine. And I felt something crack open in my chest that I'd been holding closed for 73 years. We talk more now, not every day, but more. He calls on Sundays, sometimes Wednesdays, and I'm learning how to tell him things. Small things at first, that I'm tired, that I miss his mother, that I'm scared of being alone. It doesn't come naturally, but I'm trying. I still set the table for 3, not because I'm waiting for them to come back, but because I need to remember. I need to remember that they were here, that we sat together, that I had chances, so many chances, and I thought there would always be more time, more dinners, more conversations, more opportunities to say the things I kept inside. But time doesn't wait, and people don't either. Helen used to ask me every now and then, "Robert, what are you thinking?" And I'd say nothing or just work stuff, because I didn't think my thoughts mattered. I didn't think she really wanted to know, but she did. She asked because she wanted to know me, and I never let her. I think about Michael at 16, standing in the garage, trying to ask me something, and I think about all the moments after that, all the times he reached out, and I didn't reach back. Not because I didn't love him, but because I didn't know love was something you had to do, not just feel. I'm 76 now. I live alone in a house that used to be full. And I set the table for 3 because it reminds me that closeness isn't automatic, that people won't wait forever, that silence, even when it feels safe, is still a kind of loss. I don't know how much time I have left, but I know this. If someone tries to talk to you, stop what you're doing. If someone asks what you're thinking, tell them. If someone reaches for you, reach back. Because one day you'll set the table, and the chairs will be empty, and you'll wish you'd said everything. If this meant something to you, I'd be grateful to know I'm not alone in this. You can leave a thought below, if you'd like, or just sit with it for a moment. Either way, thank you for listening.